Hi, and I welcome you all for the today's session 1 in Unit 1 of Basic Principles of Multicolor Offset Printing. Now we will see the topic which are going to cover in this session one by one. First, we will see the introduction of sheet-fed offset printing. Then we will see the composition of offsetting. Then we will see the composition of fountain solution. And then we will see the principles of offset for single color and as well as the multicolor offset printing. Then finally, we will discuss the multiple choice questions. Now, we are going to understand the concept one by one. First, we will see the what is the offset, what is and then what is the sheet fed offset. Offset is also called as a indirect method of printing and the planographic method of printing. Why it is called as indirect method of printing? On the plate cylinder, the image is readable and then transfers to the non-readable on the blanket cylinder, and then it transfers down to the substrate in the form of readable. This is the so it is called as indirect method of printing. Why it is called as a planographic printing? On the plate, both image area and non-image areas are lies on the same plane. Next, we will see the what is sheet-fed offset. There are two types of offset printing technology. One is a individual sheet form, another one is a web form. A individual sheets can pass in between the blanket cylinder and the impression cylinder so that it gets the image transferred from blanket to the substrate. Before that, the plate cylinder which holds the plate and the blanket cylinder which holds the blanket. After fixing the plate on the plate cylinder, the dampening and then the dampening roller come contact with the plate cylinder to make the desensitized on the non-image area so that it ink repellents and water acceptance. Then the after dampening roller applied onto the plate cylinder, then the ink roller will come in contact with the plate cylinder so that it makes the inks on the image. It applies the inks on the image area of the plate. It accepts the inks and water repellent on the image area. After applying of dampening and the ink roller onto the plate, then the image which is formed on the plate cylinder transfers applied on with the help of ink and it becomes visible, and this transfers onto the blanket cylinder in non-readable form. In between impression in the blanket cylinder, if sheets are passed, then with the contact of nip pressure, it transfers the image from blanket cylinder onto the substrate. This is how the sheet printing process will takes place. Later, I will show you the video how the sheet fed offset printing press works. Next, we will see the composition of offset ink. Offset ink is specially made for a offset printing machines because which makes the ink acceptance on the plate cylinder and water repellent on the plates. It withstands with the fountain solution. Otherwise, ink or water emulsification takes place. If water contacts to the ink, it creates the water emulsification. Ink contacts to the water, then creates the ink and water emulsification. Finally, it transfers down to the non-image area of the plate so that scumming will occur in printing and it is creates the faults. And it also the emulsification gives the drying as well as tinting on the non-image area and creates this gum problem. Next, we will see what are all the ingredients of the printing ink. First, pigment. Second one is vehicle. Third one is modifier. Pigment will give the coloring materials to the ink. Vehicles which carries the liquid or particles of the ink onto the substrates. Modifier. Modifier is the which controls the drying of the ink as well as smell and scuff resistance and fading of the ink on the substrates. There are two kinds of pigments. One is organic, another one is inorganic. Organics are made up of from carbon, which gives a black color. Inorganics are made up of various chemicals together used with the colored ink. Example, sulfur, china clay, silica, with combined with a soda ash or sulfate salts. Next, we will see the vehicles. Vehicles are also two kinds. One is oil, second one is synthetic resin vehicles. Oils such as soy oils or linseed oils. Synthetic vehicles are phenol and formaldehyde mixed with a phenolic resin, sometimes used in printing as a vehicle. Modifiers, which we already discussed, which controls the drying of the ink as well as resistance, fading and smell of the ink. Next, we will see the fountain solution. Fountain solution is nothing but a water or oil which does not mix it, also which desensitize the non-image areas and rendering as ink repellent. The typical formulations of the fountain solution consist acids or base, which controls the pH of the fountain solution. If it is less than 7, it is called acid. If it is more than 7 of a scale, pH scale, it is called base. Normally, in a printing industry, it should maintain from 5 to 7 scale basis. Next, we will see the gum arabic or gum, which desensitizes the non-image area of the plate and makes the plate more live, and it can be evenly used from one printing to another printing job to make the plate avoid from the wear and tear and increase the life of the plate after printing. Corrosion inhibitor is nothing but a magnesium nitrate which prevents the oxidation or the other chemical reactions which may damage the plate. Next, what is wetting agents? It is made up of alcohol, example isopropanol alcohol. It makes the reduce the surface tension of the solution to flow the ink or fountain solution easily. Then finally, fungicides, which helps kills the organic growth in the fountain elsewhere in the dampening system. Anti-foaming agents reduce the tendency of the solution foam or bubbles in the fountain solution during printing process to avoid the problems. Next, we will see the basic principles of offset. The printing plates are the main two areas. One is image area and the other one is non-image. Image areas are which accepts the ink and water repellent. So it is called as hydrophobic, which are repellent to the water is called hydrophobic, which accept the water is called hydrophilic. The non-image areas are accepting the water, so it is called as hydrophilic. The areas occupied by water do not makes the surface tension different of the image area and non-image area, so that the plate is treated with a chemical like that makes the water and ink will never mixed. If it mix, emulsification takes place. Now we will see the principles of offset one by one. The image areas and non-images lies on the same plane we have already discussed. Aluminum or a polymer PS plate, pre-sensitive plates are normally used in offset, which are chemically treated at physical surface property, which makes the ink acceptance in image area and water acceptance in non-image area. Now we will see how it works in offset printing process one by one. I will show you the video.
Offset printing is one of the most common image reproduction methods of the modern age. But what is offset printing, and how does it work? Offset printing begins with the pre-press stage, where digital files are broken down by their color separation and are laser etched onto coated aluminium plates. Each plate is then loaded onto a roller known as the plate cylinder. Each revolution of this cylinder dampens the non-image area of the plate with water from the dampening system. A vegetable oil-based ink is then passed through a series of rollers and finally onto the image area of the plate. This image is then offset onto another cylinder with a rubber blanket. The addition of this process results in a clearer and sharper final image and is where offset printing gets its name. Paper is loaded into the start of the press and is separated by jets of air to ensure that only one piece travels at a time. The paper is passed between the blanket cylinder and the impression cylinder, where it receives the printed image before it's passed on to the next unit to receive the next color. After the page has traveled through each of the units, it is piled at the end of the press with a thin layer of powder separating each page so that the printed image can dry without marking the pages above and below. Offset printing is best suited for larger volume prints, as most of the cost is in the initial setup, and the price per print will fall as the quantity goes up.
Sure. Now you understand the concept of offset printing, how it works in sheet fed offset. During the printing, first dampening solution is applied onto the paper to make the desensitized on the non-image area so that it will accept the water and ink repellent on the non-image area of the plate surface. Next, ink is applied onto the plate so that image area accept the ink and water repellent. The ink or remains on the image area and washed out from the non-image area. It will not applied onto the non-image area. Then it transfers onto the blanket, and then in between blanket and a impression roller, if the substrate pass, as we have already seen in the video, the image is transferred onto the substrate. So it is called as indirect method of printing. Okay. In the multicolor printing, there are several printing, like we previously seen one printing unit. Similar to that, we have a multiple unit of printing machines which are having a different color of ink to print a multicolor printing is called multi-unit press or multicolor printing press. Now I will show you, first I will explain this diagram, then I will show you the video how the multicolor sheet fed offset working. There are 4 printing units: cyan, magenta, yellow, and then black. Okay, paper feeding unit, and this is the delivery unit. Each printing unit consisting of dampening rollers and inking rollers. The plate cylinder which holds the plate and the blanket cylinder which holds the blanket. Each printing unit in between we have transferring system to transfer the printed sheet from one printing unit to another printing unit. This is the pile board, this is the delivery board. Pile board which holds the unprinted sheet, delivery board which holds the printed sheet. After filing the file board in a feeder unit, sets the feeder setting and then register setting, then a separated sheet transferred in between a blanket and a impression cylinder to get a printed image on the printed substrate. After printing, the printed substrate paper transfers down to the transfer drum to get dry and connected to the next printing system or transferred to the next printing system. The second color is printed. Now it becomes multicolor, two-color job. Then transfers on to the third cylinder with the help of transferring system to the third printing unit to get printed on the third color on the previously printed sheet. Totally 3 color e-printing unit. Finally, the black color is printed to get is called 4 color or multicolor job. Now we will show you the video how it works.
Offset lithographic printing, it is more than just operating a machine. You need to study the entire process, its structure, its properties, and to understand the interaction between the water, ink, and paper. The design of the image and text is laser etched and transferred onto multiple sheets of aluminium called the press plate. One press plate is mounted to a cylinder in each printing unit. This machine has 6 printing units. Each unit prints one color. Color printing typically uses ink of 4 colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. The color model CMYK. For this job, we will be using 4 of the printing units. The stack of paper is lifted into position. A sheet separation unit separates the paper with jets of air or a vacuum to ensure that only one sheet is sent through the press at any one time. As the press plate rotates, its first point of contact is the dampening unit. This has a mixture of water and other chemicals. This dampens the non-image area of the press plate. The press plate then passes the inking unit. Starting from the ink fountain, the ink will pass through multiple rollers called a roller train, which then sticks to the image area of the press plate. It is then passed to the blanket cylinder, which squeezes the water and the inked image area is picked up. It is then passed to the final cylinder called the impression cylinder. The paper runs between the impression cylinder and the blanket cylinder, pressing the image onto the paper. The paper will then run through the transfer drums. Each cylinder is equipped with grippers that pick up the paper from the previous cylinder and transfer it to the next. Once the prints have passed through each unit, they will then be dried with hot and cool air and placed on the delivery pile. And that is the process of offset lithographic printing. Thank you for watching.
So students, all of you see this, you have seen that video. Now you understand how the multicolor is printed. Okay. A multicolor press can have minimum 2 color, 4 color, or 5 color, or 6 color, or more than 6 color sometimes. A high quality printing on a multicolor press depends upon wet trapping. There is no time for complete drying. In the a little bit of viscosity of wet ink has to go to the next printing unit and printed upon that the next color, so that the trapping should be correct. So that the ability of the wet printed ink film to accept the another wet ink film is printed over it is called multicolor sheet bed offset printing. Now we will discuss the multiple choice questions one by one. Dash will cause when the ink and the ink roller should absorb water, or should the ink break down and combine with the fountain solution on the non-printing areas of the plate. Clearly understand the emulsification takes place either a fountain water is contact to the inking roller, or a inking unit combined with the breakdown and combined with the fountain solution. It creates two types of emulsification. So student, see the option one by one. First one is water emulsification. Second one is ink and water emulsification. The third one is both A and B may happen or none of the above. Second question, dash is the coloring material in the ink. I will give the clue. There are three types of ingredients. One is pigment, second one is vehicle, third one is modifier. Modifier, I will give the options also: pigment, vehicle, modifiers and oils. Modifiers are which are used to control the drying and scuff resistance as well as fade of the ink on the substrates. Vehicles which are used to these are also called as oils, which are used to carry the coloring pigment onto the substrates which holds. Then finally, which will give you the coloring material of the ink. You have to answer it. Next, third question. The fountain solution desensitizes the area of the offset printing plate. We all of you know that which area will accept the water, which area which repel the water in a offset printing. Now we will see the option one by one so that we will come to know the answer. First one is image area. Image area is always accept ink. Then second one is non-image area, which what it will accept? It repellents the ink, but it will accept something. You have to answer both A and B or none of the above. Next question. A corrosion inhibitor which prevents the dash or the other chemical reaction which may damage the plate. Corrosion inhibitor, where it will prevent printing image or oxidation or surface tension or bubble. We have already discussed it is in fountain solution, which makes the evaporation to stop. Come back. I will show you once again. See, oxidation. I should not tell. It prevents the chemical reactions which may damage the plate. It combines with the air, it will form. Next, go to the next question. Dash is used as a wetting agent in a fountain solution. IPA, isopropyl alcohol, resins comes in vehicles, oil and none of the above. Dash area offset printing plate is called hydrophobic, water repellent. Image area, non-image area, both A and B and none of the above. Next, dash area of offset printing plate is called hydrophilic, which accepts the water. Image area, non-image area and then both A and B or none of the above. Next question. Dash is the out of the printing unit of the sheet fed offset printing where the actual printing process takes place. Okay. It is plate cylinder, blanket cylinder, impression cylinder. Plate cylinder, register unit and impression cylinder. In the heart of the printing, we have totally 3 printing cylinders: plate cylinders, dampening unit and impression cylinder. last one is none of the above. Next question. The press consisting of several printing units, a feeder, a sheet transfer system, and a delivery is called a dash. A is multicolor printing press, B is offset printing, C is multi-unit press, D is both A and C. We call it as this, both A and C. What is the answer? You have to tell. Next. High quality printing on a multicolor press depends upon ink, a printing pressure, or multi-unit press, or wet trapping. See, normally in a multicolor printing press, after printing a one color, a little bit of dry will take place, but not it completely dry, and a with a drying a full ink on the substrate in a wet condition, it transfers to the next unit. This is called as multicolor printing process. So finally, I thank you all once again. Thank you very much.